What's going on, guys? I got a really interesting question yesterday and actually came into my inbox a few months ago, and I want to be fully open on this. I hadn't been checking my inbox for a while because, like I said in past videos, I've been really focused on my other business and working on Warrior Soul Apparel. But I wanted to address this question because it is actually so important, and I'm so sorry that I neglected to answer this question because I've been wrapped up in other things. So, my bad, but I'm going to do my best to answer this question as well as possible. It was from a lady who had been trying to lose weight for a while, and she was using carb cycling. She said that she had tried low carb, and whenever she went very low carb, she was experiencing a really bad lull in energy that she couldn't get through the day. She was getting very crabby, going off on her husband. And on top of that, she was experiencing soreness in her breasts and soreness around her body and retaining water and all kinds of really bad things. So the reality is that there's actually two things that I want to go over here that are of concern for this woman. And one of them is very serious. The other one is a matter of tweaking a couple of things. So let's start with the easier one first, which is just tweaking a couple of things. When we're thinking about going into a very low carbohydrate, high fat diet, right, there's a few things you need to consider. One, if you are going on a very low carbohydrate diet without high fat, you are going to be in for a very rough time because that means you are utilizing protein and vegetable material for energy. And in order to use protein for energy, you have to go through a process called gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is the process by which amino acids are converted into glucose so that the body can use them for fuel because your body only doesn't burn protein, it burns sugar or it burns fat, right? And if you don't have fat or sugar in your body, then your body's got to convert the protein into sugar because that's its preferred energy source. And so you go through that process. One, when you break that protein down, it releases a whole lot of toxins into your body, things like ammonia and sulfur and things like that. Two, it's not the most efficient way of doing things. So your body starts to kind of freak out. You're going to have lulls in energy. You're going to, really feel it. And if you look at bodybuilders who do carb cycling, right, where they're very high carb and then very low carb the next day, but they don't include a lot of fat, those low carb days are murder. I've done it before, and you crave those high carb days. You're looking forward for your cheat meal, and you can't wait to load up on those carbs. You get an awesome pump on your high carb days, but then your low carb days, you're getting all flat and you don't know what to do or anything like that. So this is a very different thing from a ketogenic diet. A ketogenic diet is where you're very high fat, very low protein, very low carbohydrate. So the fat constitutes the bulk of the calories you're taking in, and the goal here is to go through what they call keto adaptation. So when we're talking about keto adaptation, that's the process by which your body switches from burning sugar to burning fat, right? Your liver starts converting your body fat into ketones. Your body fat starts mobilizing. Your liver starts converting it into ketones, and the ketones are what fuel the brain. This is a pretty cool state to be in because not only does it lead to burning fat, it also allows you to think better. I'm not going to talk to this person right now. It allows you to think better. It allows you to get through your day without sugar fluctuations and insulin and things like that. And so that's one of the reasons why I tend to stay in ketosis because I have a business and I want to keep my mind sharp and I don't want to worry about eating all day. I want to be fueling myself with my fat stores, so that's why I do it. For this lady's purposes, one of the things, as far as her energy goes, I think that one of the problems could be that either she wasn't taking in enough fat and enough calories. You need to make sure that you have enough calories in your body if you're going to be on a ketogenic diet. And I would try to make sure that you are at least a caloric baseline or enough calories in order to maintain your lean body mass. If not, you're going to start to break down. You're not going to have a lot of energy. You need to have enough calories in your diet if you're going to be on ketosis. Two, and this is another thing, you need to give your body time to adapt, and the adaptation process is brutal. You go through a period known as the keto flu, and you're going to get headaches, you're going to be sore, you are going to be moody, and all sorts of things. So to get through that process, you need to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. You need to make sure that you have electrolytes in your body. I use Himalayan sea salt or Himalayan pink salt in order to keep salt in my body and to retain water while I'm going through this, because I just literally drain water and I'll drink gallons a day and I will feel dehydrated. So make sure you're drinking a lot of water, make sure you're getting enough minerals in your diet, and make sure you're eating enough calories. Now, that being said, as I've said before on this channel, ketosis isn't for everybody, and so I don't recommend it for everybody. It's what I use and it's what I like, and it keeps me operating at an optimal capacity. But like I said, it is brutal to get into it, and it is a rough diet to maintain. The thing that concerns me more about this woman, and this is something that we really need to consider when we're looking at our lifestyle, and that is the fact that she's getting sore breasts. And this is a problem, and it is something that raises my eyebrow and concern, because it suggests to me that this woman may have an issue with her hormones. Specifically, I'm worried that there might be a little bit of estrogen dominance going on in her body. Now, I've talked about this before, and this is a completely separate issue from keto adaptation or ketosis. When we think about estrogen, estrogen is a hormone that leads to cellular growth, right? It leads to cellular expansion. And so when you have, when your estrogen is higher or out of ratio with the rest of your hormones, you're going to be having a harder time losing fat, you're going to be retaining more water, you're going to be moodier, and it could lead to things like sore, dense breasts, and a lot of other medical problems, things like cancer. When I say cellular expansion, that's one of the things I mean. People who have what they call estrogen dominance have an increased risk of breast cancer and other types of cancers. So women tend to be a little bit, thicker. They tend to be holding on to weight a little bit more. They're at a higher risk of cancer. So one of the things I would definitely recommend to anybody, in particular women, but this is also applies to men because this can throw your hormones off too, is to really watch the amount of plastic in your life. So those plastic Tupperware containers, if they contain toxic plastics, you want to get them out of your kitchen. Opt for glass whenever you can. I use a glass water bottle. I reuse it, wash it out every day. But try to stay away from plastics if you're trying to lose fat and if you're trying to be healthy. And the danger here more so is that change in hormones, that what they call estrogen dominance, can lead to something like a breast cancer or something like that. Now, what is estrogen dominance? Estrogen dominance doesn't mean that you just have high estrogen. It means that you have low progesterone, which is a hormone that offsets estrogen. And the way that happens is because of a couple of different things. One, it happens because of plastics in our lives. Plastics contain things called xenoestrogens, and they get into our food, leach into our food, and they provide more estrogen for our bodies exogenously. And so it raises the ratio of estrogen to all the other hormones. Two, it could also happen because of stress, because of lack of sleep, or because of heavy dieting. If you're dieting severely and you're producing a lot of cortisol, the cortisol could cause what's called a pregnenolone steal. So some of that pregnenolone, which is the precursor to a lot of the other hormones, pregnenolone is a precursor to progesterone. Some of that pregnenolone, rather than becoming progesterone, can become cortisol, and you're going to have, even if you don't have extra estrogen coming into your body, you're going to have a higher ratio of estrogen and become estrogen dominant. Um, and so aside from getting rid of plastics and trying to eat organic, I know you guys don't like eating organic. I know you guys try to stay away from the grass-fed stuff sometimes because of money, but anything that has these types of exogenous chemicals and things like that can introduce estrogen into our body. But aside from that, you can also take a few different supplements. One is a herb called ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a what they call it, an adaptogenic herb, and it could help you with calming. It can help you with, you know, taking care of a lot of those hormones. They actually did a study with ashwagandha that said it was more effective than creatine at building muscle. That's one single study. I'm not going to say that. It's God's word or anything like that, but there are studies out there that suggest it. So Chinese adaptogenic herbs, specifically ashwagandha. Two, make sure that you are getting enough rest. Make sure you're sleeping well. You can use things like magnesium in the evening in order to help you to sleep. You can use magnesium baths. You can also make sure that you're not looking at your cell phone late at night. The blue light can interrupt your brain patterns and keep you from sleeping well. And that's about it. I don't want to bore you guys and keep lecturing you, but it's two very big things because one, as far as keto adaptation, it confuses a lot of people. Two, the more serious note is this estrogen dominance issue and the issue of hormones and chemicals in our food and chemicals coming from our Tupperware and our plastics. So that's it for today. Sorry if that was boring for you. If you liked it, let me know. If you don't, call me a boring asshole. That's fine. I love you all. I will talk to you all soon. Peace.